Good afternoon, everyone. I'd just like to welcome you all to the PSG webinar, Become a Leader. My name is Shirley Tam, and I am one of the PSG's course coordinators. We're excited to bring yet another webinar to you all, and we'll be planning to deliver more of these types of online training. So if you have any suggestions for any other webinars or courses that you think we should host, please do send us an email to the PSG at info@psg.ca. This webinar is scheduled to run until 3 p.m. today at the very latest. As you can see from your GoToWebinar toolbar, we have a number of tools which can be expanded using the plus sign. Please use the chat tool to communicate with the speaker and myself or the rest of the group. Our speaker has also requested for your feedback and responses to questions during the presentation. If you have a question at any time during the presentation, please use the question tool. Both myself and the speaker will be able to see these questions. Please feel free to ask as many questions as you would like throughout the presentation, and we will try our best to answer questions throughout the webinar and also at the end of the webinar. So I'd like to introduce you to our speaker, Dr. Alireza Sharifi. Dr. Alireza Sharifi is a certified masterclass trainer and master coach and founder of Alta Training and Coaching Incorporation. He is specialized in areas of management, leadership behavior, and work psychology. He is also a certified hypnotherapy trainer, master timeline therapy practitioner, and language and behavioral profile practitioner. He is also a member of the International Association of Counselors and Therapists. So Dr. Alireza Sharifi, we are excited to have you with us today, and we want to thank you so much on behalf of the PSG for being with us. So without further ado, I will hand it over to you.
Thank you very much, Shirley. It's a great pleasure for me to be here and conducting this webinar, and it's also a great pleasure to be with these dear participants. Our topic today is become a leader, and I would like to talk about a couple of things about leadership, the concept of leadership, that are important for us at work and in our lives. Before I get started with the concept of leader, I would like to share with you a little bit about myself, and then I will continue with the concept of leadership, why it is important, and what we can do in order to improve our leadership skills. As Shirley said, my education is in the field of business and management. I got my first degree in business management. I continued with an MBA in marketing. And because I liked the area of leadership, I continued with a doctorate degree in management and marketing, and specifically in the field of leadership and strategic management. I worked about 4 years on a research on leadership behavior to understand what makes leaders powerful and influential. And besides that, I worked on their behavior. I wanted to explore more of why they do what they do, and of course the successful ones. Well, for work experience, I have worked as a trainer, management trainer, consultant, as well as a coach for more than 5 years, and I taught in international universities, especially in Malaysia, for 7 years. Besides that, I have taken lots of certifications in neurolinguistic programming, in hypnotherapy, in timeline therapy, in mind mapping, and so on. So, a year ago, less than a year ago, I published this book about leadership in dynamic organizations. And the concept of this book is about what leaders do in a highly dynamic industry and organization where they are facing constant pressure and constant change. in these situations, a good leader should be able to adapt himself or herself to this environment and not only to take care of the tasks in order to get results, but also to be able to create a good communication and relationship with followers in order to motivate them, in order to keep their morale high all the time and ask them to work hard. And of course, to produce better results and bring change to the organization. Today, we don't talk about organizations that need one-time change and then they can relax, they can be relaxed for 2 years or a couple of years. Companies or any kind of organization need to be constantly in change, in the process of change, and that happens all the time at every level. So that's a big, big challenge for a leader. And the challenge is to actually keep this up, keep the morale up, and um, develop a clear vision for the organization, for the people, in order to move forward and bring the change. So that's basically what the book covers about enhancing the performance and creating change. How about today's objectives? There are a couple of objectives that we want to address today. And the first objective is what leadership is. That's the basic question. We want to know what leadership is, first of all, and why is it important? Why is leadership important to any of us? And what are the misconceptions about leadership? Many people actually do not understand the real meaning of leadership. Is it like same as management, or is or what is it actually? What is the nature of it? We will talk about it later. And of course, we will talk about the differences between a manager and a leader and characteristics of a leader, and that would be about it. And a couple of other things. And I have also one simple exercise that you will do there, and you will respond to me so that I know that. Okay, so if while I'm presenting or explaining the concept to you, if there is any comment, any point, any question that you would like to ask, feel free to type it in the message box and I will see it. And when there is time, I will answer your question. Okay, so I just don't want you to forget your question. Good. So the first concept that we're talking about is the definition of leadership. What is leadership? There are lots of definitions about leadership. One of the biggest and most well-known leadership gurus said there are as many definitions of leadership as there are people who have attempted to define this concept. Because this concept is very complex. Many people have different interpretation of it. In old times, the way they looked at leadership has been very much different from what people nowadays think and talk about leadership. Just to tell you a very brief history, and I was saying that in old times, the perception of people about leadership was quite different from what we have now. Probably from very long time ago until the World War, people were thinking that leadership is something that comes from a very particular group in a society, the elite family, the kingdom, and the rest